Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for Friday, February 1st, 2014. Want to go over the trade real quick, and then I want to go over a little bit of how I used this day to journal because I did not trade this day so well. So, first of all, let's talk about the basics. The basics call for, as probably everyone who follows me, right? First time into the zone, to look for a pause and then a rotation lower, right? And what we're trying to capture out of that rotation lower is 2 points. And the focus is on the first time into the zone. Very forward, very easy, simple, straightforward instructions, right? So if you were trading that methodology, right? First move into this zone right here. We had a 6-point plus rotation in. This is the first move into the zone right here. And it provided a 2-point rotation lower from 1771 down to 1769 right here. And so you can throw +2 on your trade card, and that's pretty much how we started the day, right? Next rotation up into the zone occurred right here. Now the question was, where in the zone would you want to take it? We back tested the white zone here, and generally speaking, I would like 6 points. So that pits the middle of the zone, 1769, as the ideal area to enter this trade, right? If you wanted 7 points, 1780 was the best point. And both trade locations gave you 2 points. Now, if you took the trade at the front of the zone, that's fine. Like I said, I expect a pause at the zone, not always the rotation, right? The rotation is the bonus. That's what I'm looking for, and it usually happens, but it doesn't always happen. If you took the front of the zone, that 25-minute rule kicked in, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. At worst, the 1781 area, right, should have been where you would covered, and that would have given you a 3-point loss, assuming you took the very front of the zone. If you took the middle to the back, you were able to get your 2 points, and you were able to move on down the road. The third location that was a viable trade, right, is this area right here. Now, we did get the first move up into the zone. There's a couple of problems with this trade right here. First of all, the swing rotation from where we consolidated here, really you have to say 1778. I would have wanted to, from 1778, I would have wanted at least 1784, right? And it would have been pretty difficult to get filled at 1784 with the proper size rotation here. As it was the first move into the zone, and it did give you the 2 points lower. The other issue with that is the time of day. After 11 a.m., not on all days, but after 11 a.m., the market can do pretty interesting things. It gets pretty thin over New York lunch, right? Which means it can be open to busting straight through the zone. It could also have these zones, right? Bust straight down. As it was, we had plenty of participation today, and both of these zones provided good location. From 1784, we rotated all the way down to eventually 1778. That's a 6-point rotation. It would have put you in the back of the zone. And again, depending on how aggressive you are, right, that's fine location. It would have given you a 2-point rotation up. If you held it long enough with trailers, you actually eventually pushed all the way up to 1788. I did not take that trade myself. I didn't take this trade myself either. So again, emphasis, first time into the zone. I would like at least a 6-point, even a 7 or 8-point rotation, given the current volatility, before taking a trade, but 6 points minimum. And then focus first time in the zone, and then that's it. I'm not trying to take the second or third trades. Why am I not trying to take the second or third trades? Well, if you look, this is first move into the zone. It worked. This is technically the second move. This is the third move. It busted in, and you would have lost money on that trade immediately. Again, focus here. You got the rotation here to the downside. It didn't last very long, right? Second time we came back up into the zone, it held, but it really pushed all the way to the back. I'm actually going to count this as a first time into the zone. We never got any separation out of it. And simply the 25-minute rule and or getting the proper trade location, meaning middle to back in this particular case, would have given you your 2 points. The 25-minute rule should have maxed you out at about a 3-point stop, worst case scenario, right? This move here was fine. We had a 6-point rotation from the bottom up into this area. It just simply was time of day, and I was pretty frustrated with myself at this point. I traded pretty poorly by my own measure at this time of day. And then we're in the afternoon, trades get harder. One thing I keep pointing out, last hour, The reason why it's hard, uh, markets can get very directional in the last hour and they can really cause some pain. I think if you haven't made your money by this time of the day anyways, there's not a whole lot of reason to be speculating in this particular part of the hour. That being said, let's go into some of the areas I had difficulty with that day and how I used a journal over the weekend, and how I could have improved some of the things I did during the day to maybe actually get me to profitability in ES. I ended up down ES about a point for the day. I was positive on my NQ trades. I had an okay day there, but I even put that in danger at the end of the day. So this week has really worn me out in terms of planning and setting up the zones. Has taken a lot of work to adjust for the increased volatility. It's not easy to read the markets when all of a sudden we've been going for months and months of pretty low volatility. All the volatility has been to the upside to getting big two-way volatility, right? So it's caused me to work extra hard, and because I take pride in getting these zones correct. And so it takes time and it takes a big effort to do that. Second part of the deal, knowing that I was tired, if you look, we came in, this was the weekly low. And prior to the open, we were trading below the weekly low. As I had laid out in the pre-market video, which is right below this one, we were trading right down here at Globex lows. My anticipation was that we were going to either open and test or open up and reject right at the weekly lows and then come back down to Globex lows, at which point our scenario was going to be this or this, right? We were going to have either a downside move or an upside move. Even if we got an upside move, we would have had another big test here, right? Where we came up and then we had the potential for rolling over the second time in. For whatever reason, I really got the, actually not for whatever reason, for looking at past scenarios when we broke the zones, the bottom of this area really kind of, along with a large gap down, just like I don't trust shorting large gaps, I don't trust ups, I don't trust going long big gap downs. And then my plan was, even with this, that if we got this gap down, was that if we got a zero tick, which is an aggressive trade, it's high odds, but it's aggressive. Why? It's not in a zone. All I had to lean on is the zero tick itself. And that trade got busted. So I took this trade short right here. I actually ended up getting stopped right at the back of the zone, came back into it and shorted right behind. That's a breaking of the rim of my trading rules. And I ended up making 3 ticks positive when I covered this whole trade after everything was said and done. So I took a 4-point loss, and then I got a little bit more than 4 points on the downside here. This right here already should have told me right out of the gate that I was off course and that I should have taken a pause. I did not. I struggled with the trade up in this area as well. And so long story short isn't that, oh, you lost money on the trade. I don't expect myself to be perfect every day. But what I was looking for at each of these zones was a rotation back to the downside here, right? This trade certainly should have been 2 points, move the stop to break even. I shouldn't have even taken this trade, but even with that, it worked to the downside. This trade, 25-minute rule, I would have had a small, I would have had a gain, 2 points from the middle, which if I look at the rotation from here to here would have given me that 2 points. I tried to push that trade again. I had good entry, and I ended up not taking very much of the trade off. I ended up getting stopped on this trade, and I'd already given up by the time we were here. I was just pretty much disgusted with myself and my trading day at this point. I had totally missed the trend day up possibility. I didn't see it. I didn't even see it once we were at this point. I was still looking for a rejection off of Thursday's lows back to the downside. I did not read very early that we got this trap trade set up. So how do I handle that? I could either sit there and beat myself up, which I did for a portion of the day, but then after market and into Saturday, I journaled. So I was tired. I missed the read. That happens sometimes, right? I have to give myself some space to do that. But the last part was, when I go off track like this is not a trade setup anywhere in my book. This is simply going off of reading the dome, seeing the pause, the second trade I took here, and that should have been a red flashing light for me. Unfortunately, my trading coach is not on constant call for me. I can't get a hold of him during the trading day most of the time. He's doing his own trading, and so I pretty much meet with him once a week or once every other week. So what he'll say to me is what I already know, but I needed to hear it anyways, which was because I did contact him after Friday. Once you were trading outside of your trading rules, you know that you are off the farm and very likely to make a bigger trading mistake that's going to cost you a lot of money. I got lucky that I did not lose a lot of money, that this trade didn't blow against me immediately, and that this trade did not blow against me for another 3 or 4 points after I took it the second time, right? So sometimes you do get lucky. I'll chalk the day up to I was tired and was not at my best when I was taking this trade, and that happens. What do I attribute that to? I had a very positive week. When I have big weeks, I tend to get more aggressive, and I shifted. I made a very subtle shift, right? All week long, I've been trading from, I'll enter at the proper location, I'll scale. If I fall into a larger trade, fantastic. If I don't fall into a larger trade, I'll just let the stop me out at break even, and then I can move on to my next trade, and I'll reset it again. And if I miss the move, I don't care. I made a shift from, hey, I'm pretty confident we're going to come back down and test these Globex lows and break them, and I'm going to try and stick a short from each of these levels to the downside, right? And luckily, we did not open below the weekly low, and I did not get run over there as well. This could have easily been a max stop out day for me had things gone just a little bit differently. Okay, so what adjustments am I going to make going into next week? Well, first of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm well rested. Someone had actually emailed me that I had actually sent out my last email to one of my coaching clients, I think at 12:30 in the morning on Thursday. I think that's correct. So not sleeping enough, overworked a bit, right? This market's kept me on my toes, okay? And probably a little bit of too much overcommitment, maybe to coaching and maybe not enough commitment to stopping and taking breaks and focusing on meditation and my exercise, right? So all of that combined to add up to me getting very lucky on Friday that I was able to walk out profitable on NQ and barely down on ES. What I would suggest to others is when you have bad days, recognize when you're off the farm as quickly as possible. Have a trading buddy who will actually hold you accountable, right? One of my clients who's actually been struggling after 11 a.m. Came up and he asked me right here, are you taking the trade here? And my response to him was pretty flat, Tim. I was like, it's after 10:30 a.m. You're struggling getting your trades to get consistent, right? Why? Because he's been trading in areas and in times that he shouldn't be trading. He traded both of these areas fantastically. He entered at the back of the zone here for whatever reason he did. Again, it's not about following me. It's about setting up your own trades. He entered at the back of the zone. He had 2 points here. He had 2 points here. He's had a fantastic day at this point, right? Up 4. He's in a groove. This is his 3rd profitable day in a row. And I responded to him quite simply. Stop trading. It's after 10:30. That was my entire response to him. Have someone who can be helpful to you in that matter. Not someone who you're chatting with all day, shooting jokes back and forth. Just someone who you can go to, hey, this is my 2nd or 3rd trade in the zone, and someone who will respond to you and go, that's not on your trade plan. What are you doing, dude? And so at any rate, that was me. I was off the farm on Friday, made some adjustments. Hopefully, I'll be well rested come Monday morning. I know I don't care much about the outcome of the Super Bowl other than I hope it's a good game, and so I should have a good night's sleep. And net, it was a great week. So I hope this helped a little bit in terms of how I do the journaling and how I use even my bad days to help me improve for the following days to have good days. And I would have done the exact same process even if I had had a max drawdown for the day. I would have still gone through the same process. And again, why am I able to recover? Because I've gone back and looked at my performance over the last couple of weeks and months, right? And I've seen how well and how consistent I've done in all kinds of volatility. And so I'll allow myself 1 or 2 bad days here and there. Anyways, I hope everyone has a great day. I hope this helps some people out there. It sucks losing money publicly. No one likes to do it. But hopefully this is helping set an example for someone else out there of how to get adjusted when you do have a bad day. Anyways, everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk later.